Alright, so starting off here, both of our runners are going to be heading off to level 3. Basically, the way this is going to work in terms of level order is we're going to go world by world in sequential order, but we're going to be doing the levels in each world in any order the runner wants. So getting started here, there's a fast cycle that both of our runners want to make here. We like to call it God Cycle. Basically, just have extremely precise movement throughout this first section. Is a global cycle that starts as soon as you start the level. Boomnoise is just getting up to it here. He's on pretty good pace for it. Yep, Boomnoise gets God Cycle. Let's see if Ian gets it. No, just a little bit behind there, but we're all good. Still on very good pace for both of our runners here. So something to note here that we will be seeing 3 different weapons used during this run. There are 9 that you can choose from, but only 3 of them are fast enough to be viable for weapons. So first we have the dualies, which we saw in level 3 there, which have an interesting dodge roll mechanic that we'll see used later in the run in various different ways. And then the hero shot, which has similar range and damage to the dualies, but it has a little bit longer range, but still very similar. And then the hero shot doesn't have dualies, or it doesn't have dodge rolls, sorry. And then we will be seeing the hero charger later for boss 1. Both of our runners going into level 2. This level focuses a lot on these like pufferfish that you can shoot, and they blow up and they ink a lot of ground. And swimming in ink is our fastest form of movement here, so we're going to be trying to maximize the amount of time we're in ink. Something we're also going to see a lot of throughout the run is curling bombs, which is a sub-weapon that we can use. Basically, you can throw it out in front of you, creates a straight line of ink, and it'll bounce off walls and stuff, so we can kind of make some angled shots to get some more ink put on the ground. And then we have 2 other sub-weapons we can use, Splat Bomb, which we won't be seeing as much, but it's still very useful for manipulating squeegees and enemies. But most notably squeegees. And then we have Auto Bomb, which will probably be used like 2 times and no more than that. Boomnoise here on pretty good pace so far. And Ian not far behind, just getting to the enemy gauntlet. So we have these sponges that we can shoot they're pretty small before you shoot them, but once you do shoot them, they'll grow a lot bigger, which will allow us to swim through them. And sponges have really weird physics for some reason. We don't really know why, but sometimes they're just awkward to move around. Boomnoise just getting into level 1 here. Level 1's pretty boring. It's basically just a tutorial level. There's a cool jump right there. But apart from that, it's just going through the level. A small little tech that we'll see our runners do occasionally during this run is sub-strafing, where we pull out a sub and then we can cancel our momentum in one direction and redirect it towards another direction, which does save a few frames over just turning around. Not going to be used a ton in this run because most of the stages are very linear. There's not a lot of times where we have to like take a 90 or a 180 degree turn. Another little optimization we can do is called ledge canceling, where if we're climbing up a ledge, we can go out of squid form and then go back in to get up on the ledge faster. boomnoise getting a 1:32, which is a really good time. And Ian is not far behind here. Getting a 1:31, not bad at all. So moving into boss number 1 here, we're going to be using the hero charger. Wow, okay. I just blanked there. So basically, Octo Oven here, a giant tower, and after 3 times of trying to attack you, he'll stick all of his body parts out. And the casual way you're supposed to beat him is you're supposed to climb up him when he does that, and then hit his tentacle on top. But the hero charger has such long range that we can just hit him without even bothering climbing up him. Interesting fact about boss 1 here is that for the IL world record for boss 1, it is a 12-way tie or a 13-way tie, something like that. Because it's very consistent, generally speaking. On phase 3 of Octo Oven here, we go for a damage boost when he sticks out his splash walls. Basically, that just skips his phase of painting the entire ground, which is a nice little time save. But in turn, it does also break our armor, which is an interesting mechanic. Basically, once you take so much damage, your armor is broken, which means you have 1 more hit before you die, you go really slow, which obviously isn't a very good thing for a speedrun. But we do opt to take some intentional damage boosts because they do save time. Like, we can skip certain cycles of enemies and obstacles and things like that we'll see later. So yeah, this is a very close race still. Ian only a little bit behind. Going into level 6 here, we're using the charger again to hit these grapple links. Obviously makes sense to use the charger here, its long range is just superior. With the other weapons, some of them don't have enough range to hit the grapple links, so you have to throw bombs, which is really slow. So in some of the levels, we have different specials that we can use. Specials that you would normally see in the multiplayer, but they appear periodically in the single player here. boomnoise just picked up the Stingray special, and we're going to be using its infinite range here to hit a fan off in the distance, which is going to push a platform. Then we're going to use the Stingray to hit a grapple link, and then we can use the charger to go up to the platform with the Zapfish on it and finish the level. Which is a great skip right there. The director of this game, Mr. Nogami, actually pointed this one out to us, which is pretty funny. Although he did do it a little bit differently, and we just kind of modified it and made it better. Alright, boomnoise in level 7 here. We have the first introduction of squeegees. Their movement is completely random, and we have to ride on top of them in some parts of the level. There are ways of manipulating them with the bombs, although sometimes they just don't do what you want, even though you did the same thing you do always, so... Kinda unfortunate that works that way, but... boomnoise coming up on the first squeegee section of this level. He throws a curling bomb, which gets the squeegee's attention, and then climbs on top of it. Unfortunately getting stuck there a little bit, but that wasn't too bad, didn't lose a ton of time. So yeah, you can see how those sections can be quite annoying, especially when there's more enemies on the ground to make the squeegees move in different directions. And Ian coming up on the same squeegee section right now. Has a bit of an easier time there. And here's the last squeegee section on boomnoise side here. For some reason, they just decide to stick squeegee sections at the end of like some of the levels in this game, which is really unfortunate because it's just RNG at the end of the day. 143, that's a really good time. But that's the kind of caliber we can expect from our two top runners here. And a 140 on Ian's side, not a bad time either. Boomnoise getting started in level 4. This is really the first part of the run where we can see runners use a different route. Alright, Boomnoise not opting to go for Rolonium boosts here. Basically, you can run into these Rolonium and it'll boost you forward. Ian going to level 5, which is a level with a lot of grind rails. Alright, Boomnoise just did a Rolonium boost. So on Ian's side here, this is a very grind rail heavy level, and we can use the dualies dodge roll mechanic to gain speed on them, because we can dodge roll forward and it'll put us farther on the ink rail, which saves a few seconds over the course of the level. And Ian's just coming up on a nollie jump here. Gets it first try. Basically, we can just skip going around that entire section and instead just jump onto a platform. And Boomnoise just finishing off level 4 with a 122. And Ian just coming up to the end of level 5 here. Ooh, a new record on Ian's side for level 5. You'll love to see it. And Ian's just going into level 4 here, so we're kind of trading levels. Alright, I don't know if Ian goes for Rolonium boost, I'm not entirely sure. Doesn't opt to go for the first one. The first one's pretty risky, and as well as the second one, because you have to have a pretty straight shot boosting yourself forward. Otherwise, sometimes you can run into enemies, and it's not very fun. Alright, both of our runners coming up to the end of their respective levels here. Boomnoise finishing with a 135. And Ian's on the last section of level 4 here. Alright, Boomnoise going to a level 9, which is our first Octoling level. Octoling levels are pretty interesting. Basically, we have 8 mini Zabfish spread around one of the multiplayer levels, in this case the reef. And we can get them in any order. So we have a lot of different routes that you can take here. boomnoise looking to go for the safest route here. There's a little bit of RNG in this one because of the way octolings can throw bombs and also shoot at you sometimes. It is definitely fair to say they are more annoying than the regular enemies. And Ian also going for level 9 here. boomnoise finishing with a 35, which is a really good time. And Ian getting a 36, only 1 second behind him on that level. boomnoise getting started in level 8 here. We have these, I believe they're called ink furlers. And we can do some fun little boosts off of these as well. There's one right there on boomnoise's side. So if we stand in a certain position on them, and then shoot them, they can boost us forward. If you're standing too far forward, though, they can sometimes send you just off the level, and you will die. And that's the big ink furler boost right there. Pretty cool trick, and it saves a lot of time. Ooh, boomnoise unfortunately missing a jump, taking a death. Not too bad of a death, though. He is right there. Deaths can be pretty punishing in this game, depending on where you are on a level. Like, if you're right before a checkpoint, that really sucks, because you have to replay that entire section of the level again. And this last section of the level here, we just have to shoot a cannon, add an ink furler to make a platform come down. But we take care of all the enemies first, because they can get in the way a lot. Ian having some trouble with this ink furler. Yeah, this is why we get rid of all the enemies, because it can knock the ink furler back. Alright, boomnoise getting started on boss 2, which is one of the easiest levels in the game. You just kind of run up and shoot Octo Samurai here, and then we use bombs to deal more damage to him. That's pretty much it. The world record for boss 2, I believe, is 39 seconds, so that really just shows you how short this level is. boomnoise getting a 41, which is a new record for him. boomnoise getting started on level 10 here, where we have a local cycle later in the level. That's not too tough to make, but if you miss it, it can be really punishing. And Ian just finishing boss 2, I assume he's also going to level 10. Level 10 introduces some new enemies, the Octo Seekers, which are these big helicopters that if they see you, they will slam down, but they are not hard to avoid at all. We just kind of run past them. Alright, boomnoise is now in the section where we have a local cycle. There's an Octave Seeker flying around, and we just want to hop on him to get to the next platform. And boomnoise makes it just fine. Ian, unfortunately, taking a death, missing a jump there. Alright, let's see if Ian can make this cycle. Again, it's not the hardest cycle to make, but it can be really bad if you do miss it. Yeah, Ian gets the cycle. Boomnoise going for 14, where we have an interesting skip that I think he's going to go for. We like to call it car wash skip. Basically, there are these, I don't even know what to call them, these purple spiky things that break your armor in one hit, and we can mash B and jump out of them. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. It's kind of RNG, but also not really. He does get it, though. Saves like 4 seconds over just waiting for them to finish their cycle. Ian also going into level 14. Let's see if Ian gets car wash skip here. He does not get it. Yeah, this is an example of a really punishing death. If you miss car wash skip, you're back to the beginning of the level. I don't think he's going to go for it again, but he might. No, he's going for it again. He needs that time save. Nope, does not get it again. That's unfortunate. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Boomnoise missed an Octaling, which means he did not collect the key he needed, so he has to climb all the way back up that tower there. Ian's still out at the start of the level, though, and decides not to go for Octashot skip, which is perfectly respectable. Octashot skip is really hard, and it is random sometimes. Ian taking another death. Unfortunate. World 3 is pretty much consistently the hardest world to do really well. Especially 14. 14 is pretty difficult. Boomnoise getting started on level 12 here, and switching back to the dualies with some dodge rolls. These bounce pads, we can dodge roll off them to get some cool tricks and a lot of speed. Their momentum is pretty weird, but once you get the hang of it, it isn't too bad. Another quirk about the dualies dodge rolls is that if you're in the air, it's going to send you down. So there's a big vertical section coming up right here, and we can just dodge roll down the entire thing, and it is quite fast. Ian did not have the best level 14 here, but he's just finishing up now. So that's going to be a pretty good lead on boomnoise's side. Yeah, 303 on 14, that's quite unfortunate. I believe he had 3 deaths in that level. Alright, boomnoise getting started on our next Octoling level. This one on Muscle Forge Fitness. And this level gets a little bit trickier with the introduction of Octolings with rollers, which, if they do hit you in a certain way, it's a one-hit KO. Meaning they will break your armor, which is going to make you go a lot slower. And then sometimes they'll hit you again after that, and you'll just die. Dying in Octoling levels is particularly bad because it sends you back to the beginning of the stage, much like a multiplayer level, instead of just the last Zapfish you collected. Boomnoise is coming up on level 11, which some of us call the most technical level in the game. This level has enemies called Octo-Kooks that hold keys, and we need these keys to progress in the level. And we use the Hero Charger to KO them in one hit before they run away from us. Although if they do see the laser, they will run away. So if you charge your shot for a little bit too long, or not enough, sometimes you'll just miss them, or you won't do enough damage to kill them. Which means they run away. And when they do run away, we don't really have backup strats for it. You just kind of do your best to catch up with them. And boomnoise going for fence hop here. Gets it first try. That's a really inconsistent strat. Where we can swim up to the fence and then come out of squid form and jump through the fence, and it just kind of sends us up. Really weird strat. But boomnoise makes it work. Ian just finishing up 15 with a 38. Not a bad time at all. Boomnoise going for a really scary jump right there. This last section here with a ton of Octo-Kooks, there are quite a few of them that have keys, but we just go for the one in the middle. Ian opting to go for 14 here. I'm sorry, it's just 12? Yeah, it's 12. Basically, we have these moving platforms, and we have to hit targets to make them move. That's really it. Boomnoise also going for 13. Generally, whenever we use the charger in a level, it's going to be a really difficult and precise level to do consistently. So it's quite insane that both of our runners here can do this level really well, especially in a race. So these Octo Showers here, if you are under them, they will kill you. Not kill you, they'll break your armor in one hit, which will make you slow, which unfortunately happened to Boomnoise right there. And that's also one of the few places we can see auto bombs used. I don't think either of our runners did. But much like the squeegees, we can somewhat manipulate their movement, but they are just RNG at the end of the day. And at the end of the level here, we can get a nice sneaky shot and skip that final section there. Ian deciding to go for 11. And boomnoise, I think he's done every level in World 3, so he's going on to Boss 3, Octostomp. Octostomp is really weird. All of his phases are different from each other, unlike most of the other bosses. And his movement in general is weird. It's not quite RNG, and it can be manipulated, but it's fairly precise to get him to do the same thing every time. One inconsistent strategy that we can do in Boss 3, however, is when he is charging at us and he slams his face into the ground, we can move to the side of the platform closer to him, so he takes less time charging at us. And obviously we're using the hero shot, so we don't have to climb him. .101 Boss 3 for boomnoise. That's a really good time. And boomnoise going straight for Boss 4. Boss 4, Octo Shower, is probably the hardest boss in the game, to do consistently at least. Basically what we do is we rush up to this platform here, we climb on top of it, and Octo Shower has 3 enemies in the first phase, and then 4 in the second and third phase, and we have to shoot all of them, and then hit him down so we can hit his tentacle. Now we don't need to fully charge our shot to kill the enemies, because we do have the upgraded versions of the weapons, so they do a bit more damage. Which means, obviously, we're going to try and charge our shot the least amount possible. So if we miss a shot, because these shots are very precise, or if we don't charge a shot enough, it's basically going to lose you 10 seconds. Unless you get a backup strat where Octo Shower decides to stay right next to you, but usually he'll run away. boomnoise going for level 19, which is the longest level in the game here. Generally, it's pretty good if you get sub 3 minutes on this level. And Ian just finishing up Boss 3 with a 103. Not a bad time at all. So in level 19 here, we have 3 different paths that we can do in any order that we like. They all have a key, and we need all the keys to progress to the final section, which is just a bunch of squeegees and RNG. Because of course, the longest level in the game has to end with an RNG section. So after hitting those targets there, we can just turn around immediately and avoid the enemy spawn trigger there. So we can just kind of rush to the end of that section. A neat little trick that we can use here on these targets is if for some reason we just don't paint a target enough, but it is painted a good amount, we can pause and unpause. It's called the pause glitch, and it'll fill in the target for you. Which boomnoise tries to do here, but it does not work. Oh, he gets it. Yeah, it varies how many times you have to pause. Sometimes it'll work in one, sometimes you gotta do it a few times there. But he does get pause glitch, that's nice. Sometimes we can get that, that target filled all the way though, which means we don't have to do pause glitch. Alright, boomnoise now hitting into the squeegee manipulation section, which is one of the few times we'll see auto bombs used. Yeah, this section is not very fun because the squeegees will tend to gravitate towards the other enemies on the plane here instead of your bombs. But boomnoise cleans it up pretty nicely there. 234. Ian on level 20 right now, similar to level 19 in that we have 2 different paths instead of 3 that we can take, and they both have a key and we need the key to progress. Ian just finishing both sections here and moving on to the final section. And he's also opting to use the charger on this level instead of the hero shot, which is what boomnoise is using. Which is a very interesting choice. It's definitely a much safer and consistent choice, though. Ian gets a 136, which is a really good time. The section that boomnoise is coming up on right now, that these octo showers can be a bit frustrating, because when you do throw the bombs to hit the fans, sometimes they'll move in the opposite direction, and you can miss a jump, which will obviously lose time. And Ian just getting started on 19 here. Nice little skip here at the end. We're supposed to kill all the enemies there, but we can just hit the fan and lower the platform ourselves with a jump shot. Boomnoise heading into 16, which is a bunch of bowling balls that can break your armor in one hit. And there is a cycle he's going to be wanting to make. Okay, takes to death there. That was strange. But yeah, there's a cycle later in the level that he's going to want to make with a moving platform. So we'll see if he gets it. These bowling balls can be really weird. They have a much bigger hitbox than you would think they would. So sometimes they'll hit you and you'll just have no idea why. Alright, boomnoise coming up on the section with the cycle that he's going to want to make, and yeah, he'll get it just fine. There is a slower cycle that you can make where you climb on top of that platform instead of it just being down for you. We call that the half cycle, but boomnoise got the full cycle there. Ian just heading into the squeegee manipulation section of level 19, and he missed the key, unfortunately. But he uses a tech that I have never seen before. He uses a damage boost to get up to the platform to get the key. That's actually really cool. I've never seen that before. Get to 252. Boomnoise headed into level 17. This level has a bunch of cycles with moving platforms here. And this level, it's not so much about what cycle you get, it's just being able to adapt to the cycle that you do get. But most cycles are pretty much as fast as every other one, if you know how to play them. Boomnoise tries to go for a Rolonium boost, but misses it, unfortunately. Here we have this stamp guy that if you're standing too close to them, he can just hit you off the edge. And another common mistake is that you can just miss the key on top of him, which happens more than I'd like to admit. Also, Ian getting that cycle. Boomnoise headed for level 18, which we like to call the auto-scroller level, because there's two big auto-scrollers in it. The first part, we have a giant tower, where we just kind of dodge roll up it on grind rails, and that's really it. And then the very end of the level, where it is literally an auto-scroller. There's enemies that come down, but you can just kind of ignore them. So yeah, here's our first auto-scroller. A giant tower, some grind rails. We use dualies to dodge roll up it. But there's not really much you can do here. And here's the second auto-scroller. This part is about a minute long, and there's not really much to do apart from kill enemies. At the end here, there's an optional jump you can take to help speed up this auto-scroller, but if you miss it, it's obviously a minute in time loss, so not the safest to go for, but usually if you just wait it out a little bit longer than you might usually to, you can get it just fine. All right, Ian going into 19 as well. boomnoise getting a 219, which is a really good time. And boomnoise is headed into 21, which is another octoling level. This one is very punishing if you do happen to take a death here. There's an optional armor we can take at the start. Don't know if boomnoise is going to go for it. He opts not to. Alright. But this is the one octoling level where the route does not differ too much at all. And he decides to go for the slower strat of riding all the way up and then going down the other side here. Which I don't think has been done in a run before. It does lose like 2 seconds over going the regular route though. Although technically it is safer because you don't have to worry about these octo snipers here. They won't see you. Alright, and boomnoise heading into World 5. Meanwhile, Ian is in our last auto-scroller here. boomnoise getting started on 23, which is another grind rail heavy. So obviously we're going to be using the dualies to take advantage of the boost we get from the dodge rolls. And Ian finishing with a 218, I believe. Oh, and something has happened to Ian's controller, apparently. Oh, he's back. Okay. I don't know what happened there. So here we can jump off of these grind rails and dodge roll down, which, like I said earlier, if we're in the air and we dodge roll, it shoots us down, so it saves a little bit of time. Very risky jumps, though, because if you're ahead of the grind rail, you'll just dodge roll into the abyss and die. Ian going for the regular route here on Moray Towers. And gets, I believe, the same time as boomnoise. And boomnoise was a 154 on level 23. Which is another pretty good time. And Ian just heading into World 5 here. So boomnoise is about a level ahead, give or take. And we will not be seeing a boss in World 5 here because the final boss, Octavio, does have 2 minutes of varying RNG. So we will not be seeing him unless boomnoise or Ian feels they are on PB pace, in which they will go for Octavio, just to see if they PB. And Ian getting started on level 23. boomnoise on level 22, however, which we like to call the epitome of Splatoon speedrunning. It has everything we don't like. It is the Octo Kooks from back in World 3. We have squeegees, invisible platforms, all the mechanics that were used throughout the rest of the game are used here. Missing that Octocoop there is really punishing, especially if he falls off the platform and makes it onto a lower one, because then he'll just run around, and it's very difficult to get him. Alright, boomnoise coming up onto the last section of level, the squeegee manipulation section. And we have two squeegees here. One of them has a higher platform to stand on, and the other one has a lower platform. Boomnoise opting to go for the lower one, which is a bit of a riskier strat, but you can get onto the final platform with it. Makes it on pretty quickly there. Usually runners will opt to go for the squeegee with a taller platform because it's easier to make that last jump, and you've got a lot more leeway. And Ian just finishing up 23 with a 153, I think. Alright, boomnoise heading into our last Octoling level here. This one is really difficult. You have Octolings with rollers, which can get your armor in one hit, blasters that can get your armor in one hit, and sloshers, which don't do one hit, but it's pretty close. This is definitely the riskiest Octoling level to do fast. Getting a 39 seconds on level 27 there, that's really good. And Ian is just on 27 as well. I think he took a death though, because he is quite a bit behind. Yeah, getting a 53. Unfortunate. I don't know if he took a death there or he was just a bit slower, I'm not sure. Boomnoise getting started on 26, which is another level with bowling balls. Right here, Boomnoise is going to be picking up another special that we're going to use later in the level. This is the Ink Storm special. We're going to throw it at a target, and it's going to hit a platform and just making going across it a lot easier. And Ian going into 22 here. Alright, boomnoise coming up on the last section of 26 here. And we've got a really tight jump with that bowling ball right there. That jump is really hard. And here he uses the Ink Storm, which hits a target, which makes this platform stay up. Ian having a little bit of trouble with that enemy gauntlet right there. But he's coming up on the last squeegee manipulation section of the run. Alright, boomnoise coming up on 24, which is his second to last level to do here. We have these platforms here that only move when you approach them, so sometimes we take a little time to set up our movement for it and lay some ink down. But boomnoise making that look real easy. That part is really hard. This is one of the hardest levels in the game for sure. Ian having no trouble at all with that squeegee section. Boomnoise coming up on this section with these moving platforms, which can be really irritating because they mess with your momentum a lot. Sometimes they'll just kind of move when you're jumping, so you'll just fall into the void. And this last section here where we have a cube with a bunch of targets that we have to hit. And once we hit all of them, a key appears, so grabs the key. We wait to move that platform so we can grab the key at an optimal cycle. And boomnoise opting to go for a safe version of that jump there. You can take that jump a little bit wider, but obviously it's going to be a little bit more riskier. Alright, and boomnoise on his last level. This one also with the charger. Level 25 has a lot of moving platforms, which generally anything moving in this game is going to be pretty irritating for us, because it can mess with your momentum a lot. And all those enemies can be very annoying if you're just a little bit slower, because they can laser you. Doesn't happen too often, but sometimes the enemy shot RNG just kind of screws you over. Alright, and Ian going into 27. He even has some really good movement on the first part of 27 here, and boomnoise coming up on the last section of this level here. We have to hit this target to make this platform move, and with the charger doing so much damage, the platform moves really fast, and we don't have to shoot it as much. Which is another benefit of playing New Game Plus, we just have the upgraded weapons. And boomnoise taunting right there, okay. There he goes. A 58-59. Let's see if I can get him in here for an interview. But yeah, that was a really good race here. Ian, unfortunately, a little bit behind, but
Hello.
hello.
If I barely clutched out the 58, I'm super surprised I clutched it out, dude.
I mean, you had some extra time at the end there.
What?
You had some extra time at the end there.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was tight as heck. But I did clutch out the 58, and I am
Yeah,
happy
you
with
clutched it out. It was really close.
this. Very close. Almost didn't get it. But GG's to Ian. I would first off like to say that level 14, I know it went bad for both of us. Just so happened that he managed to get it worse than me. I thought I got the key there, so I dropped off the ledge. But then I didn't get the key because I guess I like missed the bomb throw, and I lost like 20 seconds there. But that was like the only like major thing in the run, I guess.
Yeah, no, that was a really solid run overall.
Yeah. And there was one level I just outright restarted. I think it was
16, I
16.
think?
Yeah, because okay, so I did 19 before 20, and at the end of 20, I forgot to switch back to curling as I was doing the dodge rolls. So I went into level 12 with splat bombs equipped, and like the menuing, it's like super hard to menu into the curling bomb.
Hi, Ian.
I lost a minute to car wash skip, and
Yeah,
then the rest
I
of
messed
the
up
run was
14 too.
bad.
It's unfortunate.
I almost messed up car wash skip. I don't know if you noticed that, but like I got out on like one of the last frames probably. Like that was so tight.
Yeah, that was a really close car wash skip.
I lost like 3 seconds to that car wash skip.
3 out of the 4 you can save them.
Dude.
Yeah.
That was a bad run. Let's just leave it at that.
It was pretty. It was really close in the beginning, but
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first like 2 worlds, that was insanely close.
That's what it should be. Then I just went downhill. My controller died on me in World 4.
Oh yeah, that's right.
oh yeah, I saw you posted like something in chat about that, and I was like, yikes.
Alright, boom noise. Let it be known that this is the second day after I got stick drift fixed to my controller, and I already PB'd. So let me tell you, when we come back to this in winners and like actual finals.
Oh shoot, you're gonna beat Obo again? Are you sure?
You're gonna beat me, dude? Are you sure about that?
Oh shoot, I forgot you haven't played your match yet. Oh my gosh. Boomerang might get the upset of the
First
century.
I'm not.
I don't. That's what.
If I keep practicing, I could easily get somewhat Octavio is consistent, but
Yeah.
everything was against me this run. That's right, Ovo. What are you gonna do about it?
Legendary match.
It'll be more.
Yeah, that's the rematch of the century right
Is
there.
Grand's best of 3?
I think it's gonna be okay. Best of 1 with bracket reset. I think that's how it's gonna be. I hope that's how it's gonna be
What
because.
the hell's a bracket reset?
So basically, if the oh my gosh, if the loser, like okay, so you have winner side and winner side and loser side finals. So if the loser wins the match, they have to play another match.
Oh, wow.
I think that's how it's gonna be because best of 3 would be.
Basically, that means, Ian, you just have to win twice in a row.
Yeah.
Wow. God, I love video games.
That is if you beat Obo, of course.
Yeah. Or
Which
Sorry.
that's gonna be a really...
Obo and then beat.
Sorry, Obo. This was a bad run. You don't want to see me in a week's time.
Yikers. I'm scared because Ian's been grinding.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've been getting a lot of...
I mean, he's been playing like a lot today, I imagine.
I played for 8 hours before this race, and this is what I get.
Yeah, might have gotten burnt out a little bit there.
Who knows?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I took a break before. I was still garbage. Oh well.
So, tomorrow we have another New Game Plus tournament match. Me and Cecile go 3 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
Alright,
tune in for that.
That's another match. What if Cecile gets the upset of the century?
He's
Yeah.
not.
Dang.
Whoa!
I'm gonna prevent that from happening, okay?
Alright. Got some confidence.
Maybe he's
Can
been
we change
practicing
this
a lot. I have no idea.
Well, GG's Ian. Good match.
Yeah, that was a really
Yeah,
good
good
match. Well
match.
done, you two.
I hope to
Wow.
see you again in finals for the rematch. Want to
You
see
will.
what you can bring.
And I will do it far better. Don't you worry. Now, I'm gonna go cry and play Minecraft on an SUV.
Don't worry.
I'm leaving.
Alright,
All right, well, thank you
Wow.
everyone for watching tonight. Thank you for SpeedGaming for hosting the tournament.
Yeah, good job, SpeedGaming.
Shout
Like
out
I said,
to-
we've got one match scheduled tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then I don't believe we have any others scheduled. But look out for that Talon Oboe rematch coming to a live stream near you.